Mom's pearls. Mom's pearls. Mom's pearls. Mom's pearls. Mom's pearls.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome. We are so excited to be here with you for another episode of Mom's Pearls. My name is Leah, and I am here today with Yolanda. And we are super excited. We have with us today a very special guest. He is a retired deputy. He is also a veteran, and he is currently a pastor. Please welcome Pastor Lloyd. Yay! Welcome. Thank you for being on today's show with us. We are so excited. So, friends, family, as you all know, we have been talking about racism. It's been an ongoing topic. We've been coming from the book Stamped, which we have truly enjoyed. And so we're super excited to just continue the open discussion with all of our family and friends, just keeping it honest and just keeping it coming from a God perspective. So today we will be talking about law enforcement. We're going to be talking about their perspective. We're going to be getting Pastor Lloyd's feel and his ideas. Just when we're talking about equality and justice and racism, equity, there are so many terms that when we talk about the police and law enforcement as a whole, that we throw out, like defunding the police and police training and mental health. And there are just so many issues when it comes to racial profiling and all kinds of things. So we're going to kind of dive in today. We are super excited to get started. I'm going to hand it over to my sister in Christ, who is also a mother. Yolanda, take it away, girl.
Hello. Welcome back. I'm so glad you all are here. And a special welcome to our guest, Pastor Lloyd. And we are going to jump right in with, it's been a hot topic about defunding the police. And I believe it's gonna reign different for everyone and based on the community you live in, the state you live in, and how it's governed. But we want to ask, we're gonna pass this question off to Pastor Lloyd about what would it look like here in our local community to defund the police.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for allowing me to be on your show, Mom's Pearls. Awesome show. I check it out every now and then. And so it's an awesome show. I recommend to everybody. So once again, thank you for allowing me to be on the show with two awesome guests. Defunding the police. Defunding police, like you said earlier, means different to each and every individual. Now, for me, what it means is, and most people sit there and say, yeah, let's cut the police, get rid of them. No, you get rid of law enforcement, you're going to have chaos. What it means to me is the fact is this here, refunding some of the money that is strictly used for law enforcement. Let's use it to bring in mental health evaluators to go out with police on that may be some mental cases, retraining, maybe have some different social programs that can help in the community. That's the way we can refund the money and for the police department as well as for the community and bring our community closer together. Because if you look at police right now, it has a negative how do I want to say, a negative vibe on it, a negative feel. People sit up there and especially in our community, people feel like they're there to do one thing. But let's say that the fact is that is not always the case. There are a lot of us that want to help, but we don't know how. And so we have some training. We sit up there, have some mental people that come in and go out on these mental calls with law enforcement because some calls can get out of hand. We have this taken care of. It can change the whole dynamics in the neighborhood.
And that's great. You answered like the other three questions that I had for you, but what we skipped was the introduction. So what's your background in law enforcement?
13 years in law enforcement, and then also, as you said, as earlier was mentioned, I'm a veteran in the military and everything there. So, you know, but 13 years in law enforcement, been dealing in the court services system, worked in the jail and a little bit on the road. So basically 3 main areas in law enforcement as a deputy, and that's for the road, that's in the jail, and that's also in the courthouse, where you get a chance to see a whole spectrum there. So you lock them up on one end, you hold them in the jail on the other end until they go to court. And then when they go to court, either they're going to go to prison or they're going to be set free. All jail is just a holding place. That's all it is.
Wow. Well, first, we would like to thank you for your service to the country and continued service to the community with both of your community service positions as a veteran, military, and now a retired police officer veteran. So thank you for that, sir. Leah, did you have any questions you wanted to ask?
I do actually. When you were talking about all the different aspects that you've seen in regards to being in the court system and then being in the prisons and then also being out there on the road. So have you seen over your span of 13 years, have you seen a lot of growth in police officers as far as, do you think like they're getting enough training? Are they able to adapt? Because we know our communities are constantly changing, they're blending. Our children are growing at different rates. They're doing things at the age that they weren't doing, several years ago. So we know that this world is rapidly changing. So we know, for those of us who work in the corporate world or work period on our jobs, we have to adapt as well. We have to learn new skills. We have to change our way of thinking, the way that we move. So would you say you've seen that same change and growth with the police officers in your community as well that you spend time with? Would you say I can see them actually moving with the times and learning how to adapt and gaining new skills and knowledge?
In my 13 years in law enforcement, we always was going to school. You can never sit up here and say, this is it, we got it, because it's not. It's just like you said, things are always evolving. Well, that's the same thing as in law enforcement. Why? Because you're dealing with people. And as we deal with people, the people that was back when I was coming up and everything there as a kid and so on like this here, these people don't mature and stuff. Law enforcement has to mature. You can't continue to use the same old, just grab them, throw them in the car, throw them in the jail, and that's it. No, you have to educate because we deal with so many types of people. We are a diverse country. We have people from all backgrounds here, and we have to understand their backgrounds. By understanding their backgrounds, it gives you a better way of how to handle and talk and communicate with them. I'll give you an example. One of the examples I can say was when I worked in the court system. In the court system, I knew that there was a divorce case going on between this man and his wife. Well, the wife got custody of the children. The brother came out, he was upset, he was mad. He walked down the corridor, he fell against another judge's door to his courtroom. Now, there was no court going on inside, but the bailiff heard the commotion outside. The bailiff is the person that's assigned to the judge. The bailiff heard the commotion, come outside, and the bailiff is not us, he's a Caucasian. He sees him crying. He sees what's going on. He looks at me and I tell him, I know what he's going through. He's just need a moment to compose himself. But because the bailiff could not relate, he told him, he said, well, you got to compose yourself outside. That's the difference. The fact is this here, how we relate to one another. White officers need to spend more time, not just going arresting, but spend more time communicating with other groups. Black officers need to do the same. We all need to spend more time in other areas to learn how to communicate with each other, learn our habits, our emotions. I had to give you another example. I was at court one time. There was a mother had just lost her house. Her son coming outside. This was at magistrate court. Her son comes outside. Well, he bumps me. Now, brother, he bumps me, keep on walking. His mother's crying. Well, the officer that was with me, she was white, she was with me. She said, you could arrest him. I said, for what? His mother's upset. I know what he's going through. That bumping was not intentional. He just wanted to get away with his mother because he felt like the court system had done her wrong. We have to understand each other. And how do we understand each other? By communicating and spend time with each other. So yes, to answer your question, we have to continue to grow. We have to continue to go to school. We have to continue to talk and communicate with each other. Some law enforcement definitely need to do it if we want to get better at our jobs.
Absolutely. And I
Absolutely.
love that because I think that's what God calls us to do. And so many times here on Mom's Pearls, that's what we're talking about so often is that we have to look past the color lines and we have to be able to see the Christ in each other. And we have to be able to love people the same way that Christ loves us. And I'll just follow that question up really quickly. Well, do you think that the leadership would be receptive to that retraining, that refunding, like you said, not really defunding the police, but just retraining and things like that? Do you think leadership would be receptive to that?
Good leadership would, bad leadership won't. And
Absolutely.
just be truthful. Understand this here. Everybody is not for, hey, let's bring in the mental. Let's sit up here and go to school. Everybody want to still stick with the whole rules. So you got to understand that the fact is you're talking about people that are used to cracking heads and stuff like this. And that there are people, and it's a small group, but there are people that like doing that. Where there's others that, hey, we need to do things different. So it depends on your leadership. In every county, every state, all have different types of leadership.
So I have a question. When I was getting my degree in counseling, we had to take multiple cultural diversity courses. Is that anything that the police force has to take?
Most police forces do that. I can't speak for all. I can speak for the one that I was with. Yes,
Mhm.
we did take it. But here's the thing, and this is the sad part about it. I can sit in the class 8 hours all day on diversity, but who's to say I paid any attention? Who's to say I listened to what was said? See, it's not, the class is good and it's great, but it doesn't work unless you apply what you done learned. And that's where that boils down to the heart of an officer. Do I want to be a good officer that go out and represent my community, to go out and represent my department, to go out and represent my people? Or do I want to sit up here and just, you know what? I live on the subdivision. I live out there in the high rise area. I don't have to deal with this here. I mean, I just come here, I do my 8 hours, I could care less, and I go back to where I came from because I don't have to live with them. I don't communicate with them. I don't talk to them, except when I
That
come to.
that leads me to another question about policing the police. Is that something that's possible? So you take this class, you sit here 8 hours in this class, and you just pretty much let it go in one ear and out the other so you can get your certificate and move on and go back to your job. So what about those who aren't really applying it? If they get into a situation and they're like, well, I had the class, but I didn't really do anything with it. So now I'm just going to respond how I want to respond, how I'm going to respond out of my feeling, how I think it should be, and not how it was taught for me to respond in this situation.
You asking about basically the blue wall. And
The what?
really, the blue wall is where you do something wrong, and the fact is this here: hey, we both blue. We don't tell. We just sweep this up on the rug. We pull over a brother. He don't have no dope in the car, but because he's riding in this good looking car, we're gonna throw a bag of dope inside of his car and stuff like this here. And ain't nobody gotta know about it. We take him off to jail and set him up on some humped up charges. I believe that wall is cracking slowly but surely. I believe that there are good officers out there that will not stand by and allow this to take place. And if they see that their fellow officers are doing something wrong, that they will go head on and, report them or turn them in. Is it going to happen overnight? No. It's like anything else. Rome wasn't built in a day. You can't climb a mountain in a day. So it's going to take some time. But if the community, if the citizens keep demanding it peacefully, keep demanding it, and keep holding law enforcement accountable, then things will change.
I think we can put that that blue wall in there with the old boys network. One of those
No
things
doubt.
that's been around for a long time, and it's just gonna have to continually be chipped at. And I think when it comes to breaking foundations and things, even like the old boys network, we have to think that everybody has to be a player in it. It can't just
And
be
they
a
do.
certain color, a certain group. Everybody has to be willing to participate, and everybody, that means everybody has to be willing to recognize we have a problem. This
But
is not a system that works for everybody. So
but
I
I want to say this is the fact is we can't come in there with sticks and bricks and stuff like this here. A peaceful protest, even though it takes some time, you think nothing being accomplished. I hear you better in the long run when you're talking peacefully. But if you bust up stuff, I don't hear you. I don't hear you. If you tear up stuff, I don't hear you. All I know is you just damaged the property and stuff. And so it's my job to take care. When I worked in the jail, I would go head on, and the inmates and stuff, when they got upset, they wanted to talk to me. Why? Because I would listen to them. Now, I couldn't solve all their problems, but they knew that I would listen to them. And I would tell them, you know what you're doing, it's not worth it. You know, you're in the system, you know why you're here. They know why they're here. Let's
Mhm.
just cooperate and sit up here. I had one inmate, quick story. I had one inmate that there was 4 officers trying to handcuff him. He was in a fight. They done broke him up. They done broke up the fight. They trying to handcuff Big Brother, strong. I mean, he made me look like a little mouse, but he was sit up there, they had his hands behind his back. They was trying to handcuff him. Well, because he was so strong, they couldn't handcuff him. I'm standing there talking to him. Said, let them go head on, handcuff you. I'll walk up the steps, wish you the isolation. And I'll go in there with you and I'll make sure you got everything. And he kept saying, Lord, you know they ain't right. You know they ain't right. And I said, I agree with you. But the thing is this here, we have to go with the process. And so by me talking to him, he went on ahead, he allowed it. We went upstairs, no more problems, took the handcuffs off. I talked to him. Communication works wonders if we take time to apply it and we do it peacefully, we can accomplish a whole lot.
Well, I love that. You know, in Proverbs 15:1, it says, a soft answer turns away wrath. And
I
I
agree.
think as a pastor, that's just one of the things that I'm sure they appreciated about you being there, because you were able to bring that sound wisdom and that sound advice, that godly counsel. I know we are so grateful to have had you with us today, just to give us some insight, just to keep it honest, and just to give us some ways to work together as a community, because at the end of the day, we all still have to live here together. So it's just
Right.
best if we figure out how to deal with each other, how to deal with each other with kindness, with integrity, and with love. So, you family, friends, you all know where we are. We are here every Tuesday. We thank you all for being here with us. Please continue the conversation. Don't forget to drop us a comment in our comment box. We'll be back here next Tuesday. We will definitely have Pastor Lloyd back. So don't you worry. But before we leave, before we send you all off, remember our scripture, Proverbs 15:1. A soft answer turns away wrath. And I'm going to actually let our good pastor close it out with one last thing. You know, Pastor Lloyd, Yolanda and I are both mothers. This is our Mom's Pearl segment, you know, so I know it would just be remiss if we didn't ask you your opinion when it comes to getting pulled over. And we're just speaking more specifically about our young males. We know our young ladies get pulled over as well. So just give us some insight, because we both have boys, we both have girls. So we just want to know how that conversation should go. What are some things that we should tell them, and just keep it honest, because we want to keep it honest with our fellow people out there. They might not know what to tell their children or how to deal with the situation either. So we definitely just want to leave it in your hands, and you just give us some sound wisdom, some things that we can tell them to help make the situation better. If they were to ever get stopped, some 1, 2, 3 steps, some realistic things that they can apply if they get pulled over.
Well, the first thing I
Yes.
would tell them is understand this, keep both hands on the wheel. Keep both hands on the wheel, or even put them on the dash. Show your hands. Second of all, understand that once you get pulled over, you are being recorded. When that officer get to you, there's a body cam on him. Everything you say and do is being recorded. So here's what you do. use that to your advantage. And what do I mean by that is both hands on the wheel or both hands up on the dash, whatever the officer asks you to do. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. If they ask you to get your license and stuff, and if it's in your glove box, officer, I want you to know that my license is in my glove box, and go in there and get it. Now, if you have a weapon in the car and you are legal, I had to stall on that one, legal, then go ahead on and let them know, officer, there is a gun in the glove box. My license is in there. Do you want me to get there, get the gun out and the license, or do you wish to do it? Use that camera to your advantage. In other words, you got the ball, use the ball. Speak into the camera, let them know what you're saying. So that way there, if things go wrong, then it was all on video that you cooperated. That's what you want to do. So if they sit up there and say, all right, I'll get the license, I'll get the gun. Guess what? You keep your hands where they're at. You already told them. If there's no gun in the car, you tell them everything you are doing. You say, so once again, you are being recorded. I can't overemphasize that. And once they record you, they can't go ahead on and delete it when they get back. So if something go wrong, it's been recorded. It's recorded from the car and it's recorded on them. They have a camera. So that is what I would tell any young brother when he get pulled over. Both hands on the wheel or both hands on the dash, let the window down, say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, be polite, don't cuss, because once again, you do more with honey than you do with vinegar. So if I'm polite, if I'm nice, yes, sir, I'm cooperating in the whole 9 yards and I know it's being recorded, that makes me look good. That makes me look good.
So can I ask you this question just to kind of follow up with that? So if our young boys, which they're really young right now, but when they get older, they start driving, they want to take their friends to the football game, everybody's riding together, they get pulled over. So it's automatically turn the music down, let's be quiet. Can a friend record? Does that, make the stakes go up? If a friend turns on their phone, they're like, I'm going to record just to be safe and make sure, or is that not recommended to keep everything calm? Because you can only account for yourself, but we've seen instances where the people around, either escalate or de-escalate depending on the situation. So what do you kind of recommend in those instances as well? Because at the end of the day, a lot of times too, we're talking about children, that just are children and energetic and things like that. So what would you recommend in those cases?
They can record. There's no law said they can't. But and also in the recording, let's understand that the fact is the officer that don't want to record it is the officer I would keep recording. I will keep recording. Well, wait a minute. Why can't I record this? I mean, he's being polite. He's not saying anything wrong. He's doing what you told him to do. So what's wrong? This covers us and you. Because if he ain't doing nothing stupid, or if he do something stupid, I got it recorded just like you got it recorded. So you gotta work this thing here. So no, they can go ahead. There's no law say they cannot be recording. They can record it. My suggestion is that they don't sit up there and be running their mouth. I wouldn't do what you said. No, we don't need none of that. Just sit there, record. Everybody's keep their mouth shut. Let the officer do his job. Let him go about his way. Because what you sit up there, you keep going on ahead, and what you're doing is you're stirring the pot now. Somebody running their mouth. Now he's gonna call in for backup. If they're not there, he's gonna call in for backup. Now everybody finna get checked out. Person who probably in there charged is a felon or something like this. Now he finna get checked out. Why? Because you got that second party didn't know how to keep his mouth shut. No, just play cool. Everybody go ahead on, record the thing, keep your mouth shut.
So I have a question.
Everybody for the company we keep, Yolanda, we know it's
right.
On that company, like
absolutely, definitely beware of the company you keep. And so with that, I had a question. is the officer who pulled you over, are they required to tell you why you were stopped?
They should. They should at one point or another. If they don't tell you in the beginning, even after they get your license, they are supposed to tell you why they pull you over. And once again, when they walk up to your car, they have the audio on. They have it on to protect them, but it also protects you. Because I done asked this officer 5 times and you ain't told me yet why. Well, guess
Right.
what? If he take you to jail or something like this here, or write you out a ticket, you go to court and something like this here, and you never get told why, then you use that. Get you a lawyer. I was pulled over and I was never told why.
Mhm.
So yes, they are required to tell you why they pull you over. Do they have? There's no set time that they have to tell you at the beginning, but somewhere either before they get that your license or after they get your license, they have to tell you why they pull you over. They have to tell you. Some officers, like say for example, it's a tail light. Oh, my tail light out. I didn't know my tail light out. Can I check it? Guess what? I'm being polite. I didn't know. Some officers say, yeah, come on out. I'll let you see it. And you get on out and you check your tail light. Okay. Well, I didn't know it was out. He may sit up there and let you go. You do more with honey than you can with vinegar. Remember, they come up with audio and stuff like this here. Play into it.
We have one last question. We're
Bring it
gonna
on.
try and make it quick. So it's about racial profiling. Do you think it exists? And if, is that a yes or a no laugh?
That's a yes.
Okay.
That's a yes.
Have you witnessed it or experienced it yourself?
I have seen it in existence. It does exist. And society is not just in law enforcement, throughout society, period. Going into a store, when you go into a store as a black male, going into a store, that the fact is here, depending on the store, I can end up having people watch me. Because the fact is, why is he in this store? If I'm going into a one of them expensive stores that they and dress down and stuff like this here, wait a minute, he don't look like he can afford anything in here. We got to watch him. He may be up to something. Now I may get away with a little bit more because I'm getting older, but the thing is, this here, racial profile, it's not just in law enforcement, it's in society, period. And what you have, understand, your law enforcement comes from where? Society. So when we talk about it, yes, we can't get away from it because that means you got to wipe out society and start all over again. That ain't happening. Racial profiling comes from society.
And I think that, Pastor Lloyd, again, is just like the ultimate point. It's just they come from society. Like it's still a part of us. It's a part of that whole system.
It is.
Whole systemic racism. Like at the end of the day, we all play a part and we all
It
have
is.
to help playing a part in breaking those walls down and being willing to cross the color lines and being willing to be open and honest and transparent with each other and say, this is how I am as a culture. These are my experiences. And be like, oh, okay, well, I acknowledge and respect your experiences. I acknowledge and respect where you came from. I'm not familiar with those with my culture and my however I live my life. I think it's just so important. I think that's what Jesus wanted with all of us. He just wanted us to come together as a body and as a people and just to love each other regardless of our flaws, regardless of our mistakes, regardless of our color, our background, our ethnicity. And that's what we love about God and who he is. And we're just so grateful to have had you today, Pastor
Yes,
Lloyd.
thank you so much.
Can I
Thank
say this
you
one
so
last thing?
much.
Right quick. If you need to pay attention to what's going on, because of culture, climate, and all this other stuff here that they're changing, we do not want to deal with racism. We don't want to deal with it because we don't want to have culture, community, and all that is part of it too. It's part of your society. If I don't teach racism in the school, if I don't teach that white folks did suppress black folks back in their days, then how are they going to learn to change? Just share it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So then we'll repeat.
Right.
And that's what we do
Mhm.
not want to happen.
Mhm.
So we have to stay awoke, or stay woke, as my young people say. We have to stay alert, stay alive. For the older generation, we have to pay attention and we have to be aware. And that's what the Bible calls us to do. That's our responsibility as Christians, as brethren, to love, but we still have to be paying attention so that we can participate and be the good seeds, the light, the salt of the earth, like Christ called us to be. So thank you again, Pastor Lloyd.
Thank you.
Yolanda
Thank
and I
you.
have just enjoyed eating up this moment and
Yes,
participating with
absolutely.
you and getting to pick your brain. We have truly enjoyed it, family and friends. We hope that you all have also. And don't forget, we will be back next week with
Yes.
another episode of Mom's Pearls. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
Mom's Pearl.